Alright guys, s1mple here. Hopefully my sound is fixed for this game. So here we got part 2 of the s1mple analysis, where he goes 41 and 15. So we're going to check out T side. Pretty much determined on CD side that there wasn't really much wrong with his game. Pretty much play like most of the decisions where he saved or he was left in like 1v3s or pretty much just, his teammates losing the other site, him being smoked off and making most of the smart plays. There was a few times where he definitely could have avoided death, but it's nitpicking when someone goes 22 and 5. So here he gets dropped to P250. He's going to go outside, just going for picks. This is pretty common, high level CS. Sometimes he will drop 2. This is like the most simple strat you can ever copy on nuke, by the way. A bunch of different ways to do it. So Electronic's going to smoke mini. Mini's the most likely spot you're going to die from outside. It might seem like garage, but the shots to garage are actually pretty easy. Yeah, see. So that guy kind of overextends. Dexter just sorry, kind of owns him. That's a really nice shot by him. Turns into a ramp secret split. The logic behind this strat was like s1mple's just going to kind of clear it with the P250, kind of brute force. And if you smoke off mini, it's a lot easier to cross to secret because the shot from heaven and big garage, it's not that easy to the people crossing. And if you got a P250 guarding you, you're probably okay. And then the 3 guy goes ramp. Whereas if you don't smoke mini, the mini guy is going to be really hard to deal with. Like the shot on him and how much info he gets and how easy his shots are. So pretty simple strat, but as you can see, really effective. Like if you ever don't know what to do on nuke T side, go through ramp 2 outside. You can go 2 Twinkie and have them rush under ladder. You do what they did where you smoke mini and go there. I mean, you could even buy 2 smokes if you wanted. But yeah, anyways, I'm a fan of that strat. I think it's always safe. So here they're just going to kind of do simple walls of smoke. In my opinion, Navi kind of gets ecoed too much by playing kind of reckless. Like, look at this. There's gaps and smokes. Electronics like 100 miles ahead of the other people. Their s1mple's trailing Perfecto, but look how much further Boom is and Electronic and everyone. Like, they're all in these like crazy spots. Like this guy's down the vents. Electronic, it's just it's a lot of individual one person going somewhere. And if someone just hits a shot or has a crossfire, you lose a lot of map control. I like how my crossfire only changes on Flamey, by the way, and not on anyone else. So here they're kind of set up. I mean, this would be a pretty hard round from the lose, to be honest. But that guy, goes for a kill, doesn't pan out. It's going to be a pretty simple, no pun intended, eco round. Would have liked him to be a little bit more careful, just because it just, I don't know. It might sound like nitpicking, but like at this level, if they were playing someone like Astralis or something, maybe they would play a little bit safer. I don't know, but again, they're doing well. I know it wasn't a full save or anything, but yeah, that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you play sloppy, and that's gonna happen sometimes. So definitely a round that shouldn't have been lost like in that fashion. Like it's one thing to lose there, but they got 0 kills. So now they're on a full save, or a half buy, sorry. Deagle, half armor, pretty common. If you're an outside player on nuke, and you're playing versus people that do this kind of stuff, where there's buy Deagles and prod, just don't give them kills. They can't do anything. Like, you don't want to let them get under heaven for free. I'm not saying just hide, but don't go battle them from big garage. Don't peek them from mini and just fly out. Like, that guy that's speaking from mini right now, he's fucking wild, man. There's a guy on top of the mini roof. There's a guy here. Like, there's no reason to do this. Like, this guy's just asking to die. Flamey gets 1. Apparently they're double peeking mini. Yeah, you see, that's a 1v2 that s1mple can win. So I'm not all these ecos and anti-ecos from both the teams. I don't know. Cocky by everyone. Anyways, I can kind of get Navi being cocky because they're Navi and they're playing these guys. They probably think they're way better than them, which they are. But you know what I mean. Everyone does that shit where they play versus people they think they're way better than them. They kind of get cocky until they start losing, and then they're like, "Oh shit, Got to take it more serious. What a noob. Can't even go up a ladder properly. Best player in the world. Anyways, they're going to go do some walls of smoke. You'll see this pretty often by them. It's, you know, every team is going to be using a lot of different... Every team's going to use wall of smokes a little bit differently. Most teams are going to use a wall of smoke to get secret, but, you know, they're always going to have fakes for it, right? So the majority of the time they're going to use a wall of smoke either A, to fake that someone got secret, to get one person down secret, or to actually go with everyone, just try to always keep the CTs guessing. But I really like the way that Navi does it, where they get one guy into the garage and they kind of lurk here, because now it's a 4v4, and they all just hold. Look, Electronics holding secret, Boom is holding the big garage, s1mple is just kind of waiting for Boom to get contact, and then he'll peek off of him, and Perfecto's back a lobby just chilling, just waiting. Or actually, he's dead. Sorry, that's Flammy. There you go. Two people try to make plays. They just walk into crosshairs, get killed. One thing you'll notice in high-level CS is that players will often feel forced to get information, because if you kind of just sit and wait and they go to the other site, you pretty much guaranteed to lose, whereas if you push, you can get info and possibly get a kill and then kind of rotate correctly. So yeah, that's generally why you see so many CTs re-clear, re-push. Like, if you're watching and you're like, why don't they display the sites? When you play versus really good people like Navi and you just play sites and you let them kind of walk around the map and get full control, it's really hard. Like, you're going to have people flanking you from heaven, coming in mini, people in secret. So anyways, so far s1mple just been playing pretty normal. I mean, that last round he was hiding behind the red box outside, but it wasn't like he was really baiting. Like, that was just playing smart. You don't need to be looking for kills when the goal is to wait for people to push you. So they just do a little bit of mini harassment there. That's pretty common. Everyone on nuke should be abusing the door a little bit by either blowing it open or having your op go for a pick there, getting someone down the vent. So many different things to do with that door, just to kind of keep the CTs guessing. It's almost like the secret version 2 of this map, you know, like both those spots are really hard for CTs to maintain control of and to know how many people got down. So here they do kind of do walls of smoke, and the goal was to do a late mini split, but everyone ended up kind of dying. As you can see, s1mple was the second in the line. He probably should have died there, to be honest. He shouldn't have even got that kill, but you'll notice that s1mple is literally never first. He's never going to be the one in the front. Now, if you're playing with s1mple, I think you would likely rather have s1mple bait you than you bait s1mple, right? Like, if I play a pug and I'm 30-0, and well, 30-0, if I'm 20-10 and the next person's 8-15 on my team, you know, the guy that's 8-15 that I'm way better than should probably be the one going first into a site, not watching me walk in from 100 feet behind, letting me get a kill and die, you know? So, I think it, like, makes sense, you know? You played your team's strength, and when you have s1mple, he's one of your strengths, so you want him to not be dying for no reason. So you'll see that he's with the team. It's not like he just lets them go out and he's not there. He's always there. He's always close enough to trade. He's always close enough. He's just never quite... He's not always the one making first contact, you know? Like, in this game, I know a lot of people give, like, entry fraggers and certain players shit, but entry fragging is a very, like, difficult job to consistently get kills at. Like, of course, an entry fragger probably has the highest, like, potential, besides maybe an opper, to get like 1,000,000 kills. I'd say they probably actually have, like, if an entry fragger just has everything going their way, they probably have the chance to get the most kills in a game, just because they're going to get so many more ecos and that kind of stuff going into sites, whereas oppers aren't going to get as much ecos. So s1mple actually got a opening kill there. So he is actually an entry fragger. But yeah, basically what I was saying is, like, if you're an entry fragger, you probably have the most potential to get a lot of kills, but you also have that thing where, like, sometimes you're going to run around the corner and just get opped, and that's your round. So this guy actually is really lucky to sneak up, but he played really well. He snuck up, past their little boost. I don't know how s1mple didn't see him, but he like must have perfectly timed it, and he kind of lurked up and won the 2v1. So that's a huge round for the CTs. I bet you they lose that round. They probably just get owned in this game. They probably just lose like 16-12, to be honest. So another round, Navi's gonna like half buy. They do these little buys a lot. The new economy kind of like lets you do that. There's not so much desire to like have a full buy anymore, especially when you know the CTs have like low economy. Like look at the CTs money, 700, 120, 250. Yeah. So they try to do wall smoke. They try to do for their little lurk play where they're gonna try to go down secret, get big garage, maybe get one in big garage. One dies. This guy runs through the mini randomly and gets a couple kills. This guy's playing like a maniac. They're probably pretty triggered at that, honestly. I bet you they're mad. Oh, that's some wild ogging going on. So they pretty much just lose that round. Nothing special. Yeah. So s1mple's got a Galil. It's still a pretty shit buy here. They have enough for full nades. Like as you notice, s1mple, best player in the world, has Galil full nades. What does that mean? That means that you should have a Galil and full nades if you're playing. You don't need AK half armor all the time to win, especially on a map like Nuke. Some maps like Dust to you, alright, fair enough. I can give it to you. An AK will be better for certain players in certain positions, but in general, maps like Train, maps like Nuke, like that, like more execute heavy maps where it's harder to work picks, like nades very valuable. So make sure you guys have those. Yeah, so they're just kind of going slow again. Navi's never really going to rush anything. My logic has always been like, if you have better players, you shouldn't be rushing very often. I'm not saying never to have a rush strat, like on Train or something. Obviously, like you could rush in or on Nuke. There's always options, but in general, if you're the better team with better players, you don't want to have a strat where like you run out the squeaky door, you get hit by an HE grenade, and then you all just burn to death in a molly and get mowed down. Like you can't really utilize skill at that point. So again, s1mple just kind of goes out like second, third on most of these rounds. 2v1. Nothing fancy there. I was surprised that s1mple waited for the second vent guy. Part of me feels like after watching this demo before that they scrim each other and they kind of have like some sort of knowledge on like how the other team plays, because I don't really understand like why some players do things they do in this game. Like it's a little bit weird to me. But anyways, they're gonna do late outside smokes again. Pretty much bread and butter from these guys, It'll go sometimes squeaky fake, sometimes a little bit of ramp pressure, outside smokes, and then they'll do something off it. Sometimes they fake off it, sometimes they don't, sometimes they go through them, like I was saying before. It's a bunch. If you ever play, if you're a team that struggles on Nuke, T-side, the one thing you want to do is to make sure that your smokes on Nuke always look the same, but they have a bunch of different uses. So, like this round, you get one guy big garage, you get one guy down secret holding, you get s1mple behind this box. Notice how s1mple is always the guy that's never clearing anything. So he's not like sitting in a corner and spawn baiting. He is technically baiting. Like he's never going first. But look at him, he's basically like a support player. He threw a flash for electronic to clear secret. He threw a flash for Perfecto to clear outside once he got into big garage. And then they make a decision based off that kill. They go lower, meet up with electronic. And as you can see, he will go first if he has to. He's not gonna like some players I've seen bait. They'll literally never do what s1mple's doing. He's actually going and clearing. So whereas he doesn't want to take contact first in the early parts of the round, he'll go when he has to. So obviously he knows what he's doing. He's not a moron. So I don't know. When I look at these rounds from someone that's played with like really good players, like I played with Hiko in his prime, Brax, Twist, Automatic, like all these different players that I played with. The one thing you want is your good players to be alive. Like if Brax is on my team and he's like insane at clutching and playing smart, I don't want him entering outside of nuke and getting opt. Like if me and Jordan are on the team, like one of us can go and try to do that. You know what I mean? Like, and then he can be the one to play off it. Plus, I'm probably better at entering than Brax anyways. So if if I'm better at that and he's better at clutching and that kind of stuff, then it just makes more sense, right? So this is the first time you see s1mple go on top of Twinkie. He kind of but like again, they do the same thing, right? So what did they do here? They threw the smokes outside. They ran down. Made noise. s1mple is just kind of waiting. Hopefully someone heard the noise and they try to make a play. And if they make a play, he's gonna kill them. So like I said, they got a lot of mini plays. How much of what he does is based off his instinct or him just kind of doing what he wants? Like, if this isn't part of the strat, and he just decided like, fuck my team, I'm not going secret, I'm gonna go on top of mini and chill, then he's 100% a baiter. But I don't have this information, so I don't know if this is a design or not. Also, he keeps looking at secret, but his teammates are down here, so I don't really understand what's going on here. But either way, he's lurking, and basically all Navi's trying to do is run the timer. They got Perfecto back a lobby, they got Electronic down here, Flamey's in the vent, and they're just trying to wait for someone to repush. Like, look at this guy. He pushed all the way in Squeaky. He's got control. Really good play by him by not to push through. Unfortunately, s1mple finds a kill. This guy's in a perfect spot, but unfortunately, he can only get one. And then the two lower guys, they come with the vent. So, what did they do that round? s1mple stayed on top of the mini the entire round. A guy was back a lobby the entire round. Two guys opened door, broke the windows, simulated like there was two guys down. The CTs don't really know how many people are down there, but they know two people are at two different sides. They know there's one at the control door or windows, and they know one's at the toxic door or the single door, whatever you guys call it. And when those guys are making presences, the CTs feel obligated to rotate lower because they've lost so much control. Like if s1mple and Flamey and or Boom or whatever are all down there, then and they go plant the bomb, they lose. So they're going to try to push something. So they push one guy in hut, or push Squeaky, I mean. They try to get some info outside, and they end up dying. So it's a way to like not really do anything, but at the same time force them into you. In saying that, if a team just decided to stay 3 upper and not do anything, Navi would probably lose that round. So here's just like another execute towards inner. You kind of just do a fake towards inner, get this guy down the vent, have the people go secret. If you can get a guy down the vent effectively, it's really, really good. So here's s1mple kind of catching up with his teammates. They're going to hightail it back towards upper. Another thing that people got to always realize is if you get spotted, even if you've killed someone, you don't have to keep going there. You can always run away when you have a lot of time. This guy is 100% dead. Yep. So that's just like an eco round. I think they had one off. So this is like a pretty huge round for the CTs. And what have you guys noticed this half? Alright, so s1mple's going on top of this roof almost every round. He's throwing nades every round. He's throwing flashes, mollies, smokes. He's pretty much Cold Zero, if you think about it. He's like prime Cold Zero when he has a rifle. So when he's opping, he's like the best opper in the world. And then when he's not opping, he's playing like a support-ish kind of player. Like middle of the pack, throwing a lot of nades, not going aggressive, making sure his teammates have proper utility being used for him, and making sure that he's alive for post plants. Notice how he barely ops. He rarely ever ops on nuke T side. You'll see him sometimes do it in overtime, or if they're losing really bad, or he can pick one up sometimes, but most of the time he just buys rifles. It's really hard to make any sort of plays on nuke. Like if you have to go down a vent, or you have to go it upper, like all the angles kind of suck. for ops, and his rifles are super insane, so you may as well rifle if you're him. So they just got kind of double stopped. They got stopped by hut smoke and by a ramp smoke, and now they're making audible. So now here's where you could make a case like he definitely could bait it, because not only did he not go down, his role of holding the vent would have totally been fine if he was the one that was last. But he wasn't last, and Boom came running up and ran past him, dies, and then he gets 2 off him. So right there, I'd say that's probably a bait right there. Pretty safe to say that he baited, but he also won them around, so it's like, well, I guess it's fine. But those are the type of things where you're like, you're in an ESA pug and you're like, I'm gonna fake A on Mirage, and when I fake, you guys go B, and then you throw a fake at A, and then you're like, all right, I faked A, and you come running back, and then you entry B and die first. That's what just happened to Boom, and I hate that shit more than anything. So yeah, they win that round, 14-14. Pretty big round for both teams. Now it's the new economy, so you just buy forever. Money doesn't really matter. Print that shit, just like the US is for COVID relief. It's not a big deal. Here we go. Last round, another default. What do we see? The same fucking strat for the 1800th time in a row. And this is pretty much how you should play Nuke, to be honest. Like, obviously you could throw in like a rush, or you could throw in a 4-1 ramp a little bit more. I mean, they do that, but they really do these smokes almost every round. It's the safest way to do it, because you make the CTs have to play honest. If they just see that no one's crossed and they never know what you're gonna do, or they always know where you're going, you'll lose on Nuke. Like, the thing that Navi does really well here is misdirection. Like, they sometimes go secret, they sometimes split through mini, they sometimes go under ladder. So again, same type of thing. They let Electronic kind of go down their solo, and they all hold for outside pushes, and then they can decide, do they want to go meet up with him? Well, he got 2 kills, so it's probably a good idea. So they go meet up with him. If he ends up dying down there and he calls 2 down, secret, whatever, then they can just easily go under ladder, or they can go mini and split. So they definitely have a lot of plans, and yeah, s1mple's in a pretty good spot for the retake here. Electronic's doing it all, though. And yeah, so as you can see, they're going to do the same thing again. Electronic, as you can see, like, look at Electronic's role, though. Like, when people like to say that, like, s1mple's better than Electronic, or Electronic's not as good as like whatever. Part of me feels like Electronic, his impact is so insane on this team for his role. Like, no, do I think Electronic is better than s1mple? I really I don't. Like, s1mple's definitely more skilled, but Electronic is pretty close. Obviously, his op is nowhere near as s1mple, but his rifle and his pistols are really good. But the thing is, like, his role is so much more aggressive. He's so much more exposed. Like, look at that kill. He ran up to the red box, got killed, s1mple traded. Obviously, if you're Electronic, and you're that good, at least you got s1mple behind you, like protecting you, getting the trades. So those things are guaranteed. But, how do you say about the... Oh, and he got gate. So, when you're... Back to my point, like, when you're someone like Electronic, I really think your impact when he's playing well is bigger than s1mple's, except when s1mple's just on fire. I mean, obviously in like the games like this where s1mple's just like 36-12, you're just like, okay, what the fuck. But for the most part, like, Electronic is so impactful, so I don't know. So again, same thing. Pretty standard rounds. Gonna go back through the walls of smoke. Gonna do the inner mollies and flashes. Like I said, when you watch s1mple, like, look at this. he is the last contact coming in on nuke. Like, obviously, he can make plays. Like, he tried to make a play there after, like he's not, like, okay, how should I explain it? He is the best, most valuable baiter that you can have on your team. Because for one, yeah, he is baiting on T side. He's never going first. But it's not like a detrimental baiting, okay? It's not like he's going and being like, okay, I'm gonna let my teammates go inner and I'm just gonna sit up here and watch the flank, and then if they die, you go. Like, that's what people in pugs do, you know. Like, they'll just sit in this corner and they'll never move, or they'll be like lurked outside and they'll hide behind this box and they'll do nothing like while you're taking inner. At least when he's doing it, he's throwing like mollies, he's throwing flashes, he's coming down, and he's trailing someone. You know, like he's ready to go at squeaky and he actually goes. I think people underestimate the value of someone that makes good decisions after throwing support nades, even though they're not going first per se. They're still having a ton of value. Like, nothing he's done on T side has really made me think like, oh, you just kind of like let your teammates die for no reason. You know what I mean? There's always been a trade. There's always been impact from his baiting so far. Now, obviously, this is one map. I'm not saying he's never ever baited in his life, because I'm sure he has. But as far as this demo goes, this is actually the first time we've seen him op in many, many rounds on T side. This is actually, yeah, this is the only time he's opt on T side. Goes out, he's just doing the same default thing. This is why he rifles, though, you know? Like look at what he's doing with an op. He's not going for a pick, so, like, honestly, like, what is the point of an op? Maybe he'll get boosted on top of red. So he's going to hold the lurk with the op. Electronics over there. Maybe I'll flash for him. Nope. Electronics says nah. Just walks through. See, now he's just kind of thinking, like, where do I go? I'm sure there's some sort of comms going on. I'm not sure, obviously, what's being said, but Electronic has snuck all the way up to heaven, so this is probably where they're going to go do a mini split. Whenever someone like Electronic or someone on your team gets to a spot like this, this is where you just split inner. Yeah, so that guy goes aggro out of mini with 37 seconds left, gets killed. In my opinion, that's dumb. Electronic, yeah, I mean, this round was unwinnable for the CTs, honestly. Like, when Electronic got to where he is, like, yeah. So when you look at, if you compare Electronic's impact to s1mple on like a round on T side, Electronic's more like the person that's going to determine a round win by sheer playmaking, right? So, like, he snuck through a smoke, bypassed everyone, and basically won them the round, single-handedly. Like, yeah, he didn't get the first kill, but he's in a position where those 2 kills under ladder and in inner are guaranteed, pretty much. And s1mple was more like a round closer supporter. So they both like complement each other, is my point, I guess, that I'm trying to make. Yeah, so anyways, he did pretty much fucking nothing with that op. We'll see if he does anything here. Maybe go for throw mini molly. He can't really see it, so he doesn't stand there and just get opped or randomly shot through it. He just kind of backs off. Maybe he'll have someone jump across for him. Oh, get fucked. That guy jumps across, goes for the peek. Just kind of supporting with the op. Now, like, this is kind of what I mean on nuke, right? Like look at like the shots that he had. They all suck. Like, this is why he doesn't off on nuke T side. Like, offing on nuke T side is just not good. Like, if you are capable of doing it, then fine. Like, whatever works for you works for you. But it's just, it's so difficult, man. Like, it's so hard. So switch to CT. s1mple's back towards the heaven route. Pretty easy shot right there. Guy was probably blind or something. Probably missed the vent and went down. No smokes outside. Sometimes, even though you know outside's clear, sometimes as like a player, you'll like run somewhere and be like, oh shit, okay, I shouldn't be here because they haven't thrown smokes. Like, when Electronic's out in the open and you're opping outside, there's literally no reason for you to like be opping where the rifler is looking. So he decides, fuck it, I'm gonna move towards ramp. 4v5, it's pretty common that people will just try to brute force ramp. Makes it it's probably the easiest place to go when you don't know what you're doing on nuke. It's kind of like being on Inferno. It's like, oh shit, we're losing. Where do we go? Ah, fuck it, let's go B. The ramp is kind of that for nuke. You can always go back to outside, but if you don't have enough needs or you don't feel like you can avoid the op or take secret properly, then it's going to be difficult. So these guys are actually going to go for an inner pop with nades. So s1mple's not really going to see anyone. Perfecto's just behind the silo, though. Good job by him. Here's s1mple's flank. This is what I was talking about in the other video I made. Like, he really likes to flank hut. I really think, like, do you see how he, like, shakes when he ops people? It's just, I don't know what he does. Like, does he just grip his mouse so hard? Like, I don't, like, he does it only with an op and sometimes the deagle, but not with rifles. Anyways, I just always found that weird. So if whenever an opper and you don't know where to go and nuke a CT and your teammates have outside, just go up ramp. It'll be way better than opping inner. Your teammates can just stack somewhere. And if you gotta rotate with an op, I'm telling you, flank lobby, go hut. It's so much better than going heaven. Going heaven is okay if you're there from the start. If you're in heaven waiting while they execute, and for A, you can either get easy kills of them coming out the door, or you can drop in behind silo, you're gonna have a lot more success than, like, if you're where s1mple is right now and they call inner and you go that way, you're gonna get owned. Like, you go up the heaven and there's like 40 spots they can see your head pop up. It's really hard to actually commit out of the heaven if you don't have a teammate. Like, so anyways, here he's opping ramp again. Again, whenever you're opping a ramp, you're just pretty much putting the round in your teammates' hands, because the chance they actually come ramp is pretty low. If you are opping ramp, though, guys, if you are opping ramp, and they come to you, you'll probably win your team the round. Like, the shots are pretty easy. It's pretty hard to avoid the op, especially if they haven't seen you. Like, if they know you've been opping there the whole half, it'll be easier for them to, like, avoid you. So I'm not saying go op ramp every round, but if you do it, like, at the right times and they end up going ramp on that round, you'll probably get, like, 3 kills. As you can see, he flanked lobby there, right? Where's the guy looking? Heaven. Like, it's no one expects the opper to come from lobby, and it's so much easier to clear things out come from there. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but I'm just, as someone that's opt on nuke a lot and I like nuke, I just 100% agree with, like, all of his CT rotates. So yeah, if you don't have a proper smoke, that's the lineup you just saw, like, to smoke that off. You don't really need a smoke as a ramp rotator. Like, you can smoke ramp off for your teammate, but even then, you know, like, 2 smokes aren't that hard to wait out at a ramp. So I personally, I feel like it's a little bit more useful to just keep inner smoked, either hut or squeaky, and just to have your teammate have that 1 smoke at ramp and just play to drop, or kind of what they're doing now. They're gonna boost someone up late. They won't expect it. I think the double smoke ramp is I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just, I think it's better to do it inner. So these guys are kind of lurking outside. As you can see, they just kind of, like, Electronic is kind of like the outside player, and s1mple's more the ramp rotator, like I was explaining before. So, as a ramp rotator, he said, you know what, Flamey's boosted ramp. I'm going to go lower. They technically could have got secret. There's no one's actually down there. So Electronic has under ladder. So right now, Electronic is saying, like, I have all of outside, but they can be down secret. Now he's calling, all right, I'm going to clear outside. So they pretty much know that the outside people are gone. So they can only come inner or be coming through secret right now. He almost got 3 there. So as you can see, s1mple's kind of just, like, in the best spot possible, really, for that take. And if you want to copy that spot, that is a really good spot. It is skill based. You do have to be able to twirl around and kind of hit your shots, but it's a lot better than dark spot if you don't have anyone there. Dark spot might be slightly better to hide if you have a teammate down there as well, you know, like another person, but he was kind of by himself. So yeah, anyways, that's the demo. I mean, all in all, you know, just as an overall, like, is he baiting is he doing impact? I'd say overall, like 80-20. Like he's a 90% of the time, I'd say he's always doing the right thing. Rarely am I seeing him and be like, wow, he really should have been closer to his teammate and he should have traded that kill. Oh wow, he really should have um, ran through that smoke to help his teammate. Like most of the time, if he's saving his op, it's because the round's probably lost. Anyways, it's not like a James save where it's like a 2v3 for his team and like he watches the riflers run in and die and then he like saves. He doesn't really do that. Um, he most of the time his decisions are based on like probability and his guesses are pretty accurate, I would say. T side definitely slower, but I don't really count him as a baiter. I count it more as um, more as like I said before. I really think he's more like that cold zero, like third in line rifler, third, fourth, kind of like he's always part of the pack. He's not really a lurker. He's not really like lurking on one side. He's usually with them, but he's the one kind of throwing the mollies, the smokes, the flashes. So he's never the first or second guy. Not that he can't ever go first or second, but like we did see him a couple times, get the entry, but that's pretty rare. Most of the time, if they're hitting enter, he's not going to be the first one out hut or first one out squeaky. So if you count that as baiting, I suppose you can classify him as a baiter. But I think he's just a really good team player. Honestly, like as much shit as people want to talk about, oh, he plays for stats, or whatever. There wasn't a whole lot of playing for stats. If you really look at it objectively, and you're not just hating, there wasn't a lot of times like the one round squeaky where the boom just ran out and while his teammates were dropping down the vent and he just stood there. Sure, you classify that as bait, but that was one round and he won it for him. So I used to get baited like fucking crazy by Hiko and Brax or Swag if you don't know who Brax is, which you probably should. But I used to get baited all the time. But like sometimes Brax would literally be in a spot where he could save my life. Like he could literally save me from death, but he would watch me die. But then he would get 3 kills because they didn't clear the spot because they're just like they're thinking there's no way he's there. So everything is situational, and every player has their play style. But I would say that without s1mple, they definitely lose this game. I think if Electronic was not having a poor game, they'd probably win really easy. And they got egoed a couple times, that kind of thing. But overall, you know, I'd say, no bait, no bait.